What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the See It Through My Eyes channel. I'm your host, Richie, here with the cameraman.
Hi.
Wow, just missing your cues. And Finland.
And
How's the weather up there?
fair, like our prices. Hey, wait a minute.
So today we're going to be reacting to another video, guys. Check out the video. We're going to be reacting to some of it. So the reason why, let's first get this out the way. I selected this video. It's about the red pill community. Now by the way, go check out the video that I'm going to bring up. But we reacted to a video recently of a guy on TikTok that was part of the red pill community, and he was giving his testimony about what he experienced and just what, now that he's out of it, like how he feels and what he thinks about it now. Now, obviously, anybody that's listened to us, we feel some type of way about this specific community, as well as a lot of these communities for quote unquote men empowerment, but a lot of it's just toxic masculinity or woman bashing. Just like we have called out the female side too, right? But in our video, we had some comments of people of, I guess, this community, or at least people that align with this community, that felt that we completely misunderstood, or we were ignorant to it, or we just completely were wrong about everything that we said. Now, we're not going to respond, because if you're not willing to at least listen to our point of views and you're just going to completely discredit everything that we said, then obviously this platform, this channel is not for you. And that's fine. The door's right there. But for those, whether in the community or part of the community, that's coming over and willing to listen to us with an open mind, we want to at least be open minded ourselves. So I checked out this channel and checked out this video that kind of tries to give a neutral stance, pros and cons of this community. So let's see if any of it changes our stance on it, or we stick to it. But hopefully we can either agree to disagree, or just, go our separate ways if we don't. So add in the comment section, please, respectfully, whether or not you agree or you want us to react to something, maybe a different content creator. Now, we're not going to be reacting to anybody like fresh, what the hell is it called? Fresh and fit. Like
Fresh and fit.
Any of these channels that are just straight up toxic. But if supposedly we're missing out on the point and it's not about women bashing and all this other bullshit, then if we're wrong, give us examples of positive influencers within this community that will give us a better understanding of what the red pill community is, more about. If we're wrong, then, help us understand a different perspective on it. Don't just come and tell us everything that we said is wrong, because, well, then I don't know what the else to tell you. So with that being said, go check out the video. Like I said, we're not going to react to the entirety, probably just parts of it. But the video is called The Truth About the Red Pill Community. Oh, about the Red Pill. What to expect on the path to understanding. And this is by the channel Orion Tarabath. Orion, Orion.
Orion, my Ryan.
Taraban. I'm probably butchering the name of it, but I attempted. But check it out. Check out the channel. Show them some love. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Make sure to like and share and help us grow. And let's get right into it.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is the truth about the red pill. So I think it's about time that I made this episode. I think it's an important one, and I hope that you will listen through to the very end. First of all, I think it will be helpful to define what I mean by the red pill for the purposes of this conversation, because the term can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different folks. My working definition of the red pill is a set of knowledge and know-how that facilitates the construction of a worldview that pertains to men's place in society and to intersexual dynamics in particular. It's red pill in that this worldview deviates in significant ways from the dominant social narratives about those topics. I don't think that the red pill is equivalent to male feminism, and I definitely don't see the red pill as anti-woman. In fact, I believe that many of the understandings in that knowledge set can and do substantially benefit women, in that they can enable women to have much more satisfying relationships with the men of their choosing. So that's my working definition of the red pill. And what I'd like to suggest is that taking the red pill is something like a spiritual journey, inasmuch as once the scales have dropped from your eyes and you come to perceive and recognize and understand some of the truths about intersexual dynamics and the way relationships actually function, you're no longer the same person you once were. Just like Saul was blinded by the light on the road to Damascus and was so transformed by the experience that he even changed his name, so taking the red pill can be an evolution on par with a spiritual transformation. And within this framework, I think it's important to keep in mind two spiritual teachings which can meaningfully inform men's use of the red pill. Let's get right into it. The first teaching is kind of a joke about enlightenment. And the joke goes like this: enlightenment? Better not start. Having started, better finish. Let's break this down, because I think that this joke contains a powerful truth that is very applicable to the red pill. So why might it be better for some people to not start the process towards enlightenment? I mean, is there a better goal that we can aspire to? How could this be a bad thing? Again, the answer here has to do with the fact by the time you even make some meaningful progress toward the goal of enlightenment, you are no longer the person you were when you began your journey. Pursuing enlightenment will require a complete transformation of your personality, psychology, lifestyle, and relationships. In short, to embark on the process of enlightenment is to lose everything. Everything you once knew, anyway. So that's a very high cost, and it might be better for some people to know that price tag is very high before they get into it. And why is this? Because if you start the process but don't finish it, in many respects, you will be worse off than if you had never started to begin with. Because what happens when you make some progress towards enlightenment? Well, let's say that you become increasingly dissatisfied with the world. You begin to see through the heedless pursuit of money and fame and status and sex, and may even renounce them entirely. However, because you haven't yet arrived at full enlightenment, and you don't yet have anything better to replace it with, maybe you've given up the bad, but you haven't yet fully replaced it with the good. What's more, you've just given up a lot of the things that make life pleasant and enjoyable without having yet arrived at real joy or true understanding. This means that, with respect to enlightenment, it kind of gets worse before it gets better. And if you're not committed to going all the way to the end, then you might end up stopping at the halfway point between who you used to be and who you might become, which is kind of the least functional place to stop. So that's why there's this admonition to better finish if you start. And I think this really holds true for the red pill, because I think if you're going to take the red pill, you have to completely swallow it. Otherwise, don't put it in your mouth. If you swallow it halfway, it's kind of like it gets stuck in your throat. A lot of the guys I hear talking online today, it sounds like the red pill is stuck in their throat.
Huh?
It's an aggravating, sputtering irritant. They're basically choking on the pill because they haven't yet fully swallowed it, which in this metaphor means that they haven't yet fully integrated the knowledge set into their worldview.
Okay, so far the first part sounds like what he's explaining, especially at the beginning, I guess, of your spiritual growth journey with the red pill. I don't know what to call it. Ideology, I guess. I'm not sure. What you guys can correct me in the comment section. Whatever you guys consider it, but it sounds like it's a spiritual growth journey, not faith wise, but as a man, your just always like your old behaviors, your old mindsets, your old values and principles, just your old lifestyle, leaving all of that behind and shedding all that dead skin in order to transform into a new and better version of yourself, I guess is what I'm taking away from. I'm not sure if this is like the first step or of the red pill method, but what do you guys got from the first part?
You gotta swallow and not quit.
Gotta drink with water.
Yes, you gotta swallow your pill and not quit. I get what he's trying to say. You know, if you start something, then you gotta finish what you started.
In it to win it.
Yup, you gotta
All
not
right, shine a buff.
quit on your journey to see the truth. But the thing is that right now, as of right now, he's not really. Because I get it, like he's not really like answering some of the questions that I thought I would get answered. Like, why
What's
do
your questions?
like
I'll answer them for you.
I like why do they hate women so much?
Mm.
Why are they putting themselves in a box like I'm the victim and I can't do anything about it? You know?
Okay.
But I do get it that it's from his perspective. And he says that it would be quite beneficial to women. So I'm waiting to see what he has to say about that.
Yeah, because I agree with you. And again, you guys, if you are part of this community and you see this, that there is no female hating, where exactly is that? Because I also agree, most of it, whether it's online that I've seen, on YouTube that I've seen, on social media that I've seen, I don't see anything else but women hating. Or you need to be an alpha male or a high status male or any of that. That's why to me that's the interpretation that I'm getting about the red pill community. Even the research that I've done in the past into the community to try to understand it, that's kind of the biggest highlight. I'm not saying that that's all it is, because obviously it's about male empowerment and bringing the best version of a man, and I can respect that. The only part that I can't respect is what you said, putting yourself into this victim mentality of it's all women's fault, it's all these feminist movements, it's all all this, all women are the same, all women are promiscuous and gold diggers and manipulative and all that. That's the shit. And if it's a minority, then goddamn, that is a pretty big ass minority that I've been seeing.
If it's not of a big minority in y'all's community, then it certainly is really, really loud.
So if we're wrong, if there is that part of the community, I would love to be able to see that a little bit more. Ian?
Because that's where I was kind of getting a little confused. Where I'm like, is this what the red pill original model was supposed to look like? Because like, if that's what it was originally, like its intent from the sound of it, that sounds pretty interesting. But I'm not about to just sit here and act like that it didn't deviate. Because where red pill is now, and look, I get it, because when stuff takes a life of its own and it gets a little bit bigger than when it originally started, it's going to lose that same momentum that it had when it first was in its like original form. But I'm not about to kind of just stand here and act like the red pill thing is kind of what he's laying out in front of us now. Like the way I'm taking it, it sounds like that was the original model of what it was supposed to be, like whatnot. Granted, I mean the concept of the red pill came from that film The Matrix anyway, right, Jason?
Yep.
Yeah, it came.
So it's like
red pill, blue pill,
right. So it was already wrapped in something, and then they it breathed a life into its own that was supposed to cause this mass awakening. But what he's describing and what I'm kind of seeing on the platform, Instagram, social media, and people's kind of behavior, I'm not seeing the congruency. I'm not seeing it equal.
The ironic thing is that in the Matrix, right? Spoiler warning.
Jesus, that film's been out for years. If
Listen,
anyone has not
listen,
seen it yet,
They never get out. They never see the truth. They never do.
nope.
And so it's like now it's like you have that saying coming from people who are delusional. And it's like, are you? I know we're not living in the same like truth because it's like obviously that means something different to y'all. And again, it's like I can't be too hard on this guy because he's saying what
He's
it.
trying to be unbiased.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
again he hasn't brought up the most important part, which I'm waiting for that. And again, he did say that it was from his perspective. So yeah,
And maybe, playing devil's advocate, maybe these women hating parts of the red pill community, maybe they're outliers. Maybe they don't represent the entire community. But and I can completely understand that. When a small minority tends to be loud, we see that in, other minority groups, whether it's ethnic minority groups, religious minority groups, feminism, like all these movements. If there's a small minority but yet they're the most vocal,
And out there.
they tend to get the most attention. If it's about male empowerment, I'm all for it, but not the way that they're trying to tell me how it's supposed to be.
Now, how do you know if you've fully integrated the red pill? It's very simple. You know that you've fully integrated the red pill when you are no longer upset by the truths that it reveals. Where there is anger, there is not yet understanding. And the ultimate goal of the red pill is understanding. Not an intellectual understanding that can rattle off a host of statistics or esoteric terms or sex based injustices, but a deep emotional understanding that is predicated on an acceptance of reality. Reality is what it is, no more, no less. Getting angry at reality indicates a lack of acceptance about reality. And it is our work to conform our understanding to reality, not to work to conform reality to what our intellectual understanding believes it should be. So if you're going to take the red pill, make sure it doesn't get stuck in your throat. Because what's the alternative? I mean, you can't really spit it back up. It's already been in your system. And that means you can't unsee what you've seen under its influence. And choking on the pill sucks. Men who do so are like those who quit halfway into enlightenment. They completely renounce women and sometimes society at large. But they don't really have anything better to replace it with yet. Now, this might very well be an inevitable stage in the process toward true understanding and integration. But if so, it is definitely a stage in that process. It is not the end goal.
Okay, so another piece that I guess I'm taking away, the interesting analogy of, if you're going to take the pill, you better swallow the after day pill completely. You can't just let it get stuck in your throat. I kind of understand what he's saying. Like, you either fully committed or you're not committed at all into the process. The whole this reality, I guess, is what I'm kind of taking. That's what he kept repeating. This reality,
Reality. Put a
this
T.
red pill reality, that it is that you can't be upset. You can't get upset about certain things. We kind of said it though already. Then what about all the examples that we're seeing online?
he he did touch on that slightly. That's why I was waiting to see where he said that denouncing women, right, and having anger towards reality should only be a stage, and it should not be the end goal of your evolution. Now, I don't think that that should be a stage at all, honestly, because I mean, I get, everyone's gonna have their moments where they're angry in life, you know, but again, like, there's a lot of people that just stop there and don't choose to grow out of that, you know, and also there's also people who don't go through that at all, and they're just kind of like, okay, cool, like reality is what it is.
Maybe we're missing something. Maybe it's a kind of like more metaphorical, where it's not legit. You just completely aren't gonna have anger issues or anger moments,
Mm-hmm.
or completely give up women. Maybe we're missing out on it, and we're just ignoramuses, and we're just taking it way too literal. What do you got to say?
Well, it's just, I think the part that's kind of getting me two things. The first part where he's saying it's kind of, you can't halfway this program, is either you take the whole thing or you don't at all. It seems a bit much where it's like, if this is a new ideal or a new concept, it might take some adjusting too, to just kind of be like, this is all or nothing, seems a bit obsessive. Like, like maybe a person kind of needs to kind of shift through that, before they just decide to take this pill or whatnot. And then the other thing, what was the other thing that I had? The other thing was going into that where, you said like that it was a phase. It's supposed to be a stage, but a person isn't supposed to just stay there. They're supposed to go through it or do it perfectly not at all in order to get to the other side or whatnot. But there's content out here who are labeling themselves as red pill, whose final destination is women are the problem. They shouldn't have equal rights like that. And some of these, red pillars platforms, that's the end goal. That's the other side that he's talking about, at least for them. So that's kind of maybe where I'm getting a little bit lost here, where the good doctor is saying there's another side to it, that you go through that process and then it's supposed to be this like level of clarity that's just like, but there's red pillars that are on social media who that is the end goal, where it's just, be alpha, put a woman in their place and stuff like that. And there's nothing else beyond that point.
It's getting scarier too, because I've seen some people who are within that idea who also want a more traditional lifestyle. They want, what is it? I think it's the 19th Amendment, but don't quote me on that. They want the abolishment of the 19th Amendment, which would abolish the right for women to vote.
See, I think, but like I said, with any agenda, when it kind of grows, it loses its original purpose as to what it was set out to do in the first place. Because I didn't even know that little portion. Yeah. So that's telling me that it's going off rails even more than probably what it's already off rails.
It's a recent thing that I've seen.
To play devil's advocate for the first point that you made, Ian, I think it's extreme for us, but that's also because we're not trying to live this reality, right? But I guess it is like you got to know what you're signing up for.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of like if you truly are invested in transforming your life in this reality, and we're not trying to make fun of it if that's what it is, but if you're trying to transform your life into this type of reality, you have to be 100% committed into it. And I can respect that. Extreme. We wouldn't go through that, but I can respect if that's the mindset of another person.
Because that's their journey. That's fair.
The other part, I think what you both touched on, I know he's controversial, but a channel I used to follow, Think Before You Sleep, I think he might not identify as someone in the red pill community, but you can kind of say he aligns with some of the viewpoints.
Yeah, some of their beliefs.
Yeah. I think someone like him, like someone like me that I've checked out some of his videos, I would say he falls a little bit more under what the initial red pill ideology, reality, whatever, was supposed to be like. Where you're not supposed to be, it's about your self-growth as a man.
Right. Okay.
And it's not about focusing so much about women and like what you were saying, the abolishment of women's voting. That wasn't in the initial, I don't know, ideology or whatever. Right. So it is, and maybe it is that we're seeing the extreme sides that are these minority groups in the red pill community or aligning themselves with this community, where the ones who are kind of more for, we kind of signed up for what the initial, I don't know, ideal was about what the red pill, reality is supposed to stand. I don't know.
Okay, well, I got one because I don't know why I just like raised my hand as if I'm in school.
Like we can see you either way.
But because I was about to ask that. That's actually something that's interesting. Like, what was the original model for Red Pill? Like, I know, I think his original description of it was that. I'm believing that's what it was. Because if that's the case, where did things start going into just like, the more money you make, the more manly you are. The more muscles you have, the more manly you are. The more that a woman can't control you and you control them, the more like, you hear what I'm saying? Like, where did those start weaving in to this model? Like, when did that happen?
Now, I'm not gonna pretend like I know everything about the red pill community, but in my research in the past also, one thing that I did notice is that there's even friction in the red pill community.
Yes, it is.
Because there are people who do call out people like that are about money and status and all that, and there's the ones who stick, at least in my opinion, stick more to the original reality, that do call them out. Like, you're missing the entire point. It's not about blaming women. It's not about materialism and all that. Like I said, to me at least, it comes off as a spiritual growth into manhood and what a healthy, strong, high value man is supposed to be. That's, again, you guys can correct us if we're missing it, but that's at least my ignoraneous interpretation so far of what I've gotten both in my research as well as this video so far.
So if you're still angry after a while and you can't spit that pill back up, your only real choice is to keep swallowing until it's deep in your belly, where you can finally digest it and eventually integrate it into who you are. And you'll know you've done this when you're no longer angry and you begin to navigate the world of relationships more successfully than you used to. And this leads us to the second spiritual teaching applicable to the red pill. Maybe you've heard it before. It's before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. What does that mean? Well, among other things, I think it suggests the paradoxical truth that once you arrive at the point of enlightenment, everything is completely different, and yet nothing may have changed. It's a weird paradox and difficult to put into words, but it kind of makes sense if you think about it. If you arrive at a higher level of awareness, then the whole world changes because you yourself have changed, despite nothing being objectively different. So what does this have to do with the red pill? Well, just like your blue pill beta simp days were probably characterized by relationships with women, eventually your red pill alpha king days will probably be characterized by relationships with women. Everything is completely different, and yet nothing has changed. And this is because, excepting a very small minority of men, women are going to be a part of our lives in one way or another. And when fully integrated, the red pill allows men to have fulfilling relationships with women in a way that makes sense for the particular individuals involved. Women are not the enemy, and they are not to be feared or hated or shunned. These emotional responses indicate a lack of acceptance and understanding. That said, I'm also not saying that men should just get over it. Many men have been significantly harmed by women, and working through their trauma is going to be an essential stage of their journey. And I'm not saying that the end result is supposed to look like men and women holding hands and singing Kumbaya. For many men, it is entirely appropriate not to return to the relationships they once had. What I am saying is women aren't going anywhere. And the vast majority of men will continue to relate to women in some form or another after they swallow the red pill. Understanding women and intersexual dynamics more generally is kind of like finally reading the rule book to a game you have little choice but to play. Imagine all the fouls and the injuries and the violations that can accrue by playing a game if you don't know the rules. However, knowing the rules will not only keep you safer, but should realistically inform your strategies when playing the game. So I hope I haven't alienated my audience with this episode, but you might as well know where I stand sooner as opposed to later. I am not anti-woman, despite having many opportunities in my personal story to become so. I've worked to heal my trauma. I've integrated my understanding into a comprehensive worldview, and I enjoy fulfilling, effortless relationships with women. And I wish the same for all the other men out there.
So, just to give you a little of what he's saying.
Good, because I got a question mark over my head.
I see it. So, I guess what he's saying is that it's about changing your perspective, your mindset of what the world looks like for a lot of guys who have bad luck with women or have had a bad track with women because of maybe they're passive, maybe they act more like doormats, maybe they don't know how to act confidently around women, or they've been with women who they've let walk over them or treat them however. So it's all about transforming what a man is supposed to be like, which is assertive, confident, assured of himself, purpose, living with purpose, things like that I completely agree with.
Fair.
Right.
Yeah.
And the red pill, blue pill, the blue pill being the beta male, it's something that you don't want to be. The red pill being the king or the alpha king. And it's all about that. Now, the way that he's explaining it, and I'm not too sure if you guys, if anybody that follows this channel wants to let us know if Mr. Orion, Dr. Orion identifies with the red pill, then I can see that he aligns with what he's saying, at least by how he's coming off, where you're not emotionally driven with anger, you're not hating women, you're also not denouncing women, you're trying to better yourself first and foremost as a man in order to better your luck and your interactions and relationships with women.
Okay.
So that's the red pill, blue pill situation. Now, before you go, my thing, we're seeing way more examples of the complete opposite.
Yes.
And that's why we have been so harsh. And I feel a lot of people have been so harsh on the red pill community because that's all we've been seeing. And no, not just the things that go viral, even within our research, that's what we keep seeing. So for all those coming to us and saying that we're missing the mark and that we're ignorant and this and this and that, that's kind of also on your community, that all we're seeing is the negative parts.
And we have no other choice but to put that.
Exactly, because we're not part of this community. So obviously, we're going to see the loudest and at least the ones that are more visible and be like, okay, well, then that's what this movement is about. So to me, if that's what we've been missing, then I can admit when I'm wrong. But like I said, that's also what we've been exposed to so much, intentionally or unintentionally, on social media mostly. So if that's what we keep being told that we're missing, then I can agree with that mindset. Now, if you guys are going to tell us that we're still missing something, please respectfully tell us then what exactly are we missing. But that's, again, we're just learning as we're researching, learning as we're being exposed to this community and this reality. So we are going to come off as ignoramuses,
Right.
but we're trying at least to be open-minded.
That's
so hopefully
fair.
you guys can also be open-minded and listen to what we got to say. So with that being said, Ian, what you guys got to say?
Okay, because that does clear up a lot of things. So then it does fall that, like, based off of this, my best reaction is the original model for the red pill thing is supposed to help men better themselves. That way, not that way they can just be functional men in society, but even more so being functional and healthy counterparts to the other side of society, which is in fact women. So then it does still go back to my point then. Where did this whole, again, did the downgrade of women, that they should, lessen their rights, their, independent pursuits should stop. And then also on the men's side of things, you got to make this X amount of money and have this particular kind of car, McLaren or something, or you got to take these courses where they throw buckets of ice on you and, you know, yell at you for hours to become more man. Where does this fit in that schema
To be
Red
continued. We're gonna continue doing our research. Okay. So for all
Because
those
somewhere from the sound of it, somewhere this skewed off.
for all those coming with an open mind, we want to be respectful. If this is a community, if this is what the communities is supposed to be and is what really is, I can respect it. So I do want to be respectful for this community, and I want to do research into the other side that we have been more exposed to, that claim or seem to align themselves with the red pill community, at least by name.
That's what I'm about to say. Because if that is not what represents red pill, then in you guys' community, you may want to raise awareness that they're taking what was supposed to be a beneficial model and they twisted it and turned it and put to the forefront something that is totally not. Because now it's people upset about red pill altogether. And like, you know, and unfortunately that throws just the idea of a man improving himself, it throws that under the bus, which I don't got problems with either. Just like I don't have problems with women improving themselves, I ain't got problems with men improving themselves. But it's like, it sounds like that somebody is taking like somebody twisted the concept of red pill and they turned this into like it has to be this type of just toxicity, and now your names are being conflated with something that is not. And for you guys that actually are about that self-improvement, like for real, not for, you know, not for attention purpose, but those that's about real self-improvement, that is something you need to be raised aware of, because I don't want you guys getting knocked for doing the right thing because a bad label's got attached to you.
And not just that,
Yeah.
it's very dangerous for vulnerable individuals, especially the younger guys who are looking at these communities. And if they're looking for what the red pill really is supposed to stand for, but then they fall trap to these women hating, always angry, telling you that you ain't shit and you need to get to a certain level to be a man, to be an alpha male. But you guys are saying that that's not what it is, then there kind of needs to be a separation or a more louder separation, because guys are falling for the other side. If that's not you guys, I'm not sure. Again, we're on the outside. We're just observing it from the outside in. So we're trying to learn. We're gonna react to more videos like this, and as well as do more research into what's going on the other side and why both sides seem to be confused all under this one label of the red pill reality, red pill community. And also inform us. Let us know respectfully in the comment section. Is it an ideology? Is it a reality? Is it, I don't know, spirituality? What is it considered besides a community? And again, if you guys can inform us respectfully in the comment section, is there a separation between both sides? Because now we're being told that it's not about women hating, but we're constantly coming across examples of women hating, women bashing guys,
And they're beating their chest saying that they're red pill.
and they're beating their chests when they're not supposed to be emotionally driven. So again, hopefully you guys are open-minded to hear our confusion as we're trying to learn from all this noise that's happening in our world. We want to be respectful, and hopefully you guys will listen to our point of views, and you guys at least try to help us out, right? We're just trying to learn because we want to understand and also be respectful for other people's ideologies that might not align with what we believe in. But if this is what it's supposed to be, we can respect that, right? We can all agree to disagree, that at least we can respect that. So with that being said, check out the channel if you haven't. Check out the entirety of the video. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Like and share. Comment respectfully in that comment section, guys, because if you're just going to come and tell us that everything we said is wrong, get the fuck out. All right, simple as that. We're not here pandering to anybody. We're going to stand our ground on what we believe in too, and we're trying to be respectful. But if you can't be respectful enough to have a open discussion or open dialogue with us, you're gonna get blocked, you're gonna get kicked out. This is our platform, but we're trying to be open and welcoming to everybody who's gonna come in with an open mind and respectful to let us know, hey, you guys are missing this, but at least give us some props that we're trying. That's all we're saying. So stay safe out there, stay prayed up, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Think wisely.